Good day, King Double from Math Academy. So now I just want us to really go through this paper together and try to see if the examiner was fair or not. Let's just take a look at it. Okay, this is Mathematics Paper 2, November 2024. So it's out of 150, then it is 3 hours. Okay, therefore now, question number 1, it's pretty fair because this is within the syllabus of grade 12. So therefore, they just give you a scattered plot and give you some data, then determine the equation of the least square regression. You can use the calculator, write down the correlation coefficient. You can still use the calculator. Therefore, now when it goes to 1.4, 1.5, and 1.6, it is a matter of understanding the basics and understanding the question. Okay, so that is 10 marks. Okay, that was pretty fair. Therefore, now we've got number 2. If you can check in question number 2, this is basically grade 11. This is basically grade 11 work, wherein they give you the guide, and then they say that you need to find the median, the lower quartile, the interquartile range, and then remember, for you to do that, you get the position, and then after that you will get those things. Therefore, remember, once they ask you a lot of stuff like the minimum and the maximum, it requires a lot of thinking. It requires a lot of thinking and understanding the basics as well. So yeah, we can say it was little bit tricky, more especially with the questions that requires an understanding. Then we've got question 3, which is out of 19 marks. So now if we can look into this is pure grade 11 as well. Why? Because there's nothing new that they've asked them. They said that calculate the gradient of DC, we've got all the points. Determine the equation of DC, we've got all the points. And then show that K is equals to -6. So remember, everything, it's a collinear. Then you can use the gradient to get the coordinate of K. Therefore, now the question says find the length of DC. That is still grade 11. Therefore, calculate the ratio of BD and DC. Man, that is still in the same bracket. Therefore, now they say that if M is a midpoint of AD, such that calculate the ratio of M, BD, and the area of ACD. So you need to make sure that you find the point of M. So, but then now the interesting one is 3.7. I gave this to my grade 11s, and then I asked them, what is that 3.7? Automatically, they told me that, that has to do with Martinez equation. So that is why algebra is very, very, very important. So now if you can look into that, they say that it is further given that the gradient of AD is equals to -4. So therefore, it means that you're going to use the gradient formula to make equation 1. And then they say that the length is 612, root 612. Therefore, even that one, you are still going to do the same thing using the length, and then you're going to have equation 1 and equation 2. Therefore, the most important thing is that the value of A has to be negative, X negative, and Y positive. Then that was pretty fair. Then they ask you the cycle geometry as well. Look at how beautiful the cycle geometry is. It's not even complex, it's not even complicated. Write down the coordinate of L, you use the midpoint, determine the equation of a tangent. Remember, for you to get the equation of tangent, the tangent and the radius are basically perpendicular. Therefore, you complete the square, and then you show that D is equals to 7. Then you calculate the coordinate, or rather the size of L. How do we do the size of L? You're going to get all the distance, and then you use the cosine rule. And then 4.6, TR is a tangent to the circle. Prove that PT is parallel to RT. So remember, it's perpendicular. Remember, when you talk about perpendicular, it means that the two gradient must basically give you what? They need to give you what we call -1. Therefore, that 20 marks was pretty fair. Pretty fair. Okay. Then we have trigonometry. Not bad. That is basically still in grade 11. So most of the stuff that they have asked here, they are generally from from grade 10 and 11. If you can check 5.1.3, if sine A, and then it is given that it lies from 90 to 360, then obviously you're going to use the second quadrant, do the theorem of Pythagoras, and then you'll get it. Therefore 5.2 as well, it's a compound angle. So that was pretty fine. Okay, then question 6, obviously you guys have seen 6.1 all the times, and then we've got 6.1.2. That is still the laws. These people are asking you the laws. They're not really asking you the equation per se, they're asking you the laws. So you can see that we're going to have the compound angle. Okay, therefore 6.2 is fairly algebra. 6.2 is algebra, and then 6.3 as well, it's algebra, but in a form of the graph called the parabola graph, because when they talk about the maximum, obviously they are talking about that. Then we have, my God, man, tan. How can they just give you something like this? They give you the tan graph. It's not even complicated. This is the mother graph. This is the mother graph. And then they say that write down the equation of the asymptotes. My God. They were just giving you so that you can just celebrate. Okay. Then we've got question number 8. The height and distance. The height and distance. The height and distance is not even complicated as well. I always tell my learners that whenever you are doing height and distance, rule number 1, you have to get all the angles as much as you can. You need to make sure that you get all the angles, and then you check what are you really supposed to use. So therefore, for you to do this one, you have to read the question as well. After reading the question, you can get all the angles and then separate the triangles, and then you will get what you are looking for. And make sure that you get to know the common side as well, because if it is 7 marks, it means that there are a lot of work to do. Then they ask you the cyclic quad. Imagine they ask you the cyclic quad. The cyclic quad. Let's look at 9.1. The cyclic quad. I gave this one as well to my grade 11s, and then they were able to solve it. They say, no, sir, this was very, very, very simple. Therefore, you've got 9.2. Hence, prove that AD. You can check where AD is, and then they say that AD is equals to DC. Then you can check what are you really supposed to use there. What are you really supposed to use? Then that is 6 marks. And then question number 10. Question number 10. Look at question number 10. 10.1. That was pretty fair, because you guys have been asked this proportionality theorem. So you could have gotten it for real. And then we have 10.2, which they say that in the diagram, O is the center of the circle, and then so and so, and then they say that OR is that. Then there we go, and then they say OV is to OT, it's 1:4. And then they say that prove with the reasons that OR, you have to check where is OR. They say that OR, there we go. And I can see that OR is giving something like theorem of Pythagoras, when if you can check OPR. So that is actually giving some sort of theorem of Pythagoras. Therefore now, that is what we have. So now 10.2, they say that the length of PT it's equals to, if ST is equals to 15 unit. Therefore, this is really basics. This is really basics, and you can tell that even this cycle is not that complicated. Then we have the last question here, the last question in the diagram below. So whenever you are dealing with something like this, we always advise you that you need to make sure that you get the angles before you answer the questions. Like when they say that in the diagram, we've got A, B, G, and F lie on the large circle, and then a smaller circle is drawn to touch the large circle internally at A. Okay, they say that EA is a tangent to both circles. So whenever they ask you about the tangent, rule number 1, this is a very, very critical rule. Rule number 1, you must make sure by all means you get the angles that are based on that tangent. Then they say that EBCF, it's a tangent to a smaller circle. You have to make sure that you get the angles that are based on a tangent. Therefore, now they say that at C. Therefore, when you are done, that is where you can go and answer 11.1. You realize that all the angles that you have found without answering the question are the angles that you're going to write in 11.1. Then they say that prove that AG, AD, AC, AF, that is basically similarities. And therefore now we've got proof that AGF, it's similar to that one. It's still similar triangles. And then obviously the last one, which is 6 marks, it means that you're still going to use similarities, but now it's going to involve a lot of things altogether. So basically that is all that you guys were supposed to do in that 3 hours. Okay, in my conclusion is that the paper was very, very fair. The paper was very fair. The paper was very, very fair. More especially for somebody who really studied the basics. Thank you so much.